Hi guys, it's Rachel here, and we are back with our third week in the new year of Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 3. And I haven't quite finished this yet, but as I said, I'm going to come back and work into that. I need to start preparing my background for the next prompt, and I need to reveal the next prompt. So the next prompt is Garden Gate or Secret Door. So whichever you prefer, Garden Gate or Secret Door. I'm still umming and ahhing about how it's going to evolve here. I'm feeling like I'm going to have some sort of gate here, and then the garden is going to continue down and maybe have some more bushy things coming up the back, but I haven't decided that yet. But we need to work on the background. So I did struggle a bit with my embroidery on here with the last one, so because I had a lot of layers going on, and so I'm just thinking, I'm just pulling out these sorts of more plainer sort of fabrics, and I'm just thinking I might put that there, just to cover a bit of space, have that going underneath. I probably don't need quite that much, so I might cut some off. It's just a linen, it's not old or anything like that, so I'm going to put that there, or maybe I'll have it on the other side. Let's just have a look. Take those bits off. Might have that. I have it. No, I might put that over. If I do it on that side, I might put it on that side because I've got that bit of linen there. So put it there. I'm just thinking, actually I might need that to be green. What about if I were to colour that in green and have that bunching up somewhere to create some texture? We might do that because it's a nice linen. And I just want to grab my cheesecloth for a second. Just bear with me. I'm still here. I'm just grabbing some things. Excuse me. Okay, so I've got some, Lulu actually painted this. This is a bit thick, but I want to add in, I'm sure I pulled some out in preparation for this. But anyway, let's have a look. Okay, let's get all the bits out. Okay, so I could go down the neutral road, but I kind of, oh look at this, this is going to be good, these colours. I kind of want to have some of these sorts of colours going in as well. I just watercoloured on this, I just swooshed watercolour. So actually if I were to wash it, it would probably, well not probably, it would come off. But I kind of want to be able to have some greenery without having to do all the stitches. You know, like I want to do the stitches, but not like millions of stitches, if you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly. I'm getting myself in a mess here. I've gone from no mess to a mess. Okay, I've also have this. This is lovely. We can use some of that. Now could that become part of a gate? Is that, it's a bit of a stretch? Could that become part of a gate? I'm going to cut a piece off. I think that's going to be my gate. I need to put something behind it. See, because just to create, see, then you'll be able to see that behind the gate. And I'll have a bit of a fence going there. Now it's coming together. It's a bit crazy. I love this piece. Let me just fussy cut this piece out. I've been sitting here procrastinating, talking to my mum and procrastinating about this for quite some time. And here we go. Things just happen. So don't give up on yourself. You don't have to know exactly what's going to happen when you start. That's what I love. But I'm wondering if this, see, that's going to cover all of that, but it could be coming, could be like my little bushy bit. I have a little fence across there. I was thinking I could have it sort of, then I wouldn't need all of that going right across, but it could be coming up. It's not working, just a sec. What else do I have? I could grab some more embroideries. I'm looking for bits to come up behind my gate, like there's flowers behind there, but I don't know how I'm going to incorporate these. I am going to have a fence. This is all a bit solid, is my issue. Well, anyway, that's going to be my gate, but I will do like embroidery on it to define it further, is my thought. I'm thinking I'm going to have this, but I might not have it quite so long because it will be hard to also stitch into. I'm going to have my gate maybe here, and I'm going to, when I've drawn it on, I'm going to have a bit of some sort of brick fence, maybe up here, higher than my gate there. And then, let's see, I probably should put my base down first. Have that down there. And I don't even have to come down that far. Like, I can just sort of decide. My main thing for this week is, or these 2 weeks, is the gate. So I might just focus on working around my gate and incorporating it, making it sort of incorporate into my piece. So I think that's as far down as I'm going to come. So I'm going to pin that in place. This is going to be quite stiff. Lulu painted this when we did, when I did the, what's her name? The Emily Notman course, online Zoom course. I think we were in lockdown. I can't remember. She did some fabric painting, and Lulu did that. She came in and saw me painting, and she said, can I do one? And so she did. And I kept it. Maybe I did. I'm pretty sure Lulu did it. I might have done it. Who remembers? But I love it. Look at those colours in there. It's a bit stiff because it's got thick layers of acrylic paint on it. Now, I think before I stitch on my gate, I might just stitch down my background because I may want to slip things in behind my gate. I need my gate to be up there a little bit. I didn't want it to be up so high, but I've got a little gap there, so I need to slide this up. I don't want to have a gap. So I'm going to stitch these down first. I'm just going to use my well, it's Jude Hill's Invisible Stitch to stitch them down. And then we'll come back and play a little bit with the composition, and then we'll do the bits of embroidery because there's still more stuff that has to happen up there. This is what I mean, like, you're not going to finish it all in 1 week, if you know what I mean, or 2 weeks. So I'll just stitch this down. I might put a YouTube on while I do it. Watch something. I'll just get started so you can see. So I did leave that loose, but in the end I am going to cover that because I'm going to, unless I want that to peekaboo over it. No, I don't, because I've got it there. So I'm going to stitch, first I'm going to stitch this down, and I will maybe have some embroidery coming down over that, you see. Oh my, did I just pull out the longest piece? I didn't even realize how long it was. That's way too long. That's like hard work, because you know, I won't even be able to pull it up. Like even if I pull my arm up as straight as can be, I have to almost double it over. I've just done the longest piece. Look, I have to go twice. I never do that, but anyway, I'll get through a lot with it without having to change. I'm just doing this kind of stitch now just to catch this edge, and then I might even add things. So it's really up to you what you do. Am I on screen? Because I'm not going to zoom in. There's nothing really to see, because in the last video I had to cut out. Fortunately I realized, because I would have had a lot of angry, annoyed comments about me being out of off screen, because we've had the electricians here, and they had to do something in here, and they moved my arm, and I'm sort of lost as to where I am positioned. Now, because this piece wasn't stitched, I am going to do, or maybe not there. Yes, I am going to do a very quick invisible sort of stitch just to hold it in place. I like everything to be secured before I start embellishing. That being said, you kind of need to be fairly sure about what, you know, that you're not going to want to slip anything underneath it, because it's going to be secured. But this is just the background. So I don't want all my background to be green or anything like that. That's not what I'm aiming for, but a little bit, just to help along with the embroidery, because then you're going to have to, if you have all just sort of beige, then you're going to be filling in a lot with your embroidery if you want to get a garden look. So then I'm coming back this way with my very long piece of thread. Oops, I stabbed myself. So you just jump forward with really long stitches at the back and little teeny tiny stitches at the front. I'm hooked onto a flower. That's not fun. Like I literally have to pull my arm up over my shoulder past my head. Okay, and come back. So I'll pause the camera. I'm just going to keep on going across. I'll slide that up a bit higher so that way I don't have such a gap. Always put your piece down, and as I always tell you, readjust. Make sure it's not puckering or anything like that, to make sure you've got a nice flat surface. And continue on. So I'll pick that up. So it's a bit more than tacking this really, because you're doing more stitches than you do very big stitches with tacking. And then you remove them. They're visible stitches. These you just leave them in, because it kind of gives you almost like a little sort of quilted feel to the piece to doing this, and you have less puckering of the fabric, which I dislike enormously. When you see, like if you just stitch around the edge, sometimes I just stitch around the edge, but it depends on what I'm doing. I'm not against stitching around the edge, but when you're doing a background, I kind of like all the pieces to be stitched down properly, and no puckering in any of them. It's just a personal preference. There's no right or wrong. Everyone's piece is, you know, they do it how they want to. What makes you happy. So you just keep going backwards and forwards until you've stitched it. It doesn't actually, it seems like it takes a long time, but it actually doesn't take a long time, especially on a small amount of space like this. So you can see, like each week, I'm not going to be doing a piece the same size as the last piece, if you know what I mean. Like this was however long. I'm not doing this the same length. I'm building my garden vertically, which is not easy. It would have been an easier task to do it horizontally, but you know, I always like to challenge myself. So who knows if it might end up looking like a mess. I might not be able to do it. Oh, I said I was going to go. Well, I'm still here chatting. Found things to chat about. So obviously the watercolor fabric, you're not going to wash it, but also it's very soft. Like it's not thick at all, not like when you put acrylic. But if you don't put, you know, if you do watered down acrylic, that's not going to be so stiff. But certainly this piece, this green piece, it's very textured because it was on an old piece of hemp. It's not there are some hemps that are quite worn, or they weren't as, the fibers weren't as thick, and so they're not coarse. There are some coarse ones and not so coarse ones. This one wasn't too bad, and but then it does have the thickish paint, but it's nice and textural, which is what I like about it. I may abandon that piece for my gate. You never know. I might change my mind. I don't need to be too fussy here, because it's going to be covered, I think. So I'm just putting my needle down right next to where I came up in theory. Sometimes I accidentally go down the same way and then I don't put a stitch at all. So we're nearly halfway, but I will pause the video in a second. I just sort of got on a roll and just kept on going. I didn't want to sort of stop to pause the video. I'm also being very careful. See here, I will readjust that. I'll move that pin so it all flattens out. And be careful to make sure I get around my edges, even though a lot of it will be covered with more stitching. So it won't be such an issue, but I try to make sure that the edges are stitched down well enough. So I might have to have a paint swooshing session, although I've got plenty of painted bits and pieces. Could have a paint swooshing session just to colour a few things. I think Sarah was going to do a bit of dyeing. She might have done it by the time this video goes up. She had mentioned it, but it depends on, you know, how inspired she's feeling, whether or not she's going to do it. So this needs to, I just readjust. And I might just sort of stitch down to there, and I'll leave that flapping just so I can decide when I move to my next bits that I'm going to add what I want to do. We're nearly there. I've left you hanging while I do this. I mean, that is the oldest, like not old as in antique, but I've had one of my oldest pieces of fabric is this piece of linen. It's one of the first bits and pieces I had, I think, when I first started and my mum was here. We found it somewhere. I couldn't find linen anywhere, and I know I bought it. When I first started doing the growth charts, probably in 2012. It's 10 years old, and that's a little piece that I had left over. Isn't it funny how you remember some pieces you wouldn't know where you got them from, and others, I don't know where I bought it. Oh, yes, I do. I know exactly who I bought it from. But isn't it funny how some you remember and some you don't? And that's just a piece of linen, for heaven's sake, and I remember where I got it. Okay, I'll pause because I'm going to have to thread and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've stitched my pieces on and I'm going to put that's going to be my gate. And I will do some more embroidery on it. I might move it over here a little bit, have it over here, a little bit off center. And I'm going to have a kind of sort of fence going across there, but I'm not sure how. Do I want something like that? I don't know. Let's move these out of the way. Need that, don't need that. Used that. I probably need to go and grab some more embroideries. I don't know where I put them all. That's a flower I made with some silk. Ah, got that. Okay. Do I want something like that behind my fence? Oh, maybe. Yes. Let's put that behind the fence. It's going to cover up that work there. It doesn't matter. And I'll pick up some embroidery on there. So we're just working out the, I don't think, well, I might eventually make some things like that and attach them. I don't know. So I need to figure out my little fence. Will I just embroider it, an idea of it, or just a minute, I did pull out my, I've got my cheesecloth here. Oh, here's a nice dark coffee stained cheesecloth. I was wondering if I had any sort of greeny sort of colours. I've got that one. That's a bit of that's a bit of a silky sort of thing. I think I just got these in packs, and these were gifted to me. How lucky. They were gifted to me. Oopsie. Lovely. I don't need those, I've got that. But I'm thinking I could have a little, it's double. I could keep it double, put a little piece there, just a little piece to create the wall. This darker bit edge here. Just cut it out and stitch it on, and then I'm going to embroider the bricks. I think I will do that. Let's just see. I can always use it if it's not right. I might have my wall coming up a bit higher. I want to cover it all up. There. Oh, it doesn't even meet my fence. Just a second. My gate. I mean, it's just pretend. It's not, doesn't have to be exact. But before I stitch that down, I might want something else coming up behind it. So I'm going to put that there. So it's like there's a bush of roses there. I need to cut, oh, that's the height. So I just need to cut a piece to go there. I'll cut it a bit longer than what I need just to make sure I put it. Okay, that's going to be my fence, my gate, my wall. Okay, and that's going to go there. Now I could make it so that sort of goes over. No, I want it behind. However, I could cut that bit off. I just really want the one leaf. You probably think, oh, don't cut it. I want that to go behind. Like so. Oops. Like that. That's what I want. Like that. It's like it's, I'll have to move it up even higher. No, I'm going to have it all behind. Doesn't matter. Put it all behind. I'll embroider a leaf over. That's what I'll do. And I don't know how it's going to evolve after the fence. So that's that. That's going to be like that. Okay, and that's my fence. That needs to come over there, like so. Might just bring it up a little teeny tiny bit. It's my gate. And then I'll put that back in the thing. And then around my, I was sticking to my fingers, around my, like I might put something like that. You know, like a nice piece bunched up like that, and that's going to be like a bush, and I might do some sort of flower in there. I'm just wondering about over here, where did those other flowers go? I could have something like that. No, I don't like that. I could have it in front. I could have it in front and then do some embroidery around it. Let's just see. Maybe more sort of bush, some more bushy sort of stuff over here. Do I want something behind there? This is what I'm asking myself. This is not going to work because it's too big. I need something smaller. Although that one flower there, I quite like the one flower there, or two flowers would be good, but I'd have to cut it. Could I get those two flowers to work in behind there? I could. I'm going to cut it. Won't be lost because I can place those flowers elsewhere. Just be careful how I cut it. I'll have to stitch very close to this yellow flower. So then I would put that in behind there and just have those. I can even have it like coming off the page like that. Okay. I've got some flowers peekabooing out from behind my fence. Now that will start looking like a fence because it's going to be like a brick wall. No, it's not a fence, it's a wall. That's what it is, it's a wall. So I will be stitching the bricks, the outline of the bricks, and that's my gate. So that's it there so far. When it gets stitched down, I needed to sort of make those decisions before I stitch anything. Now I can stitch those down, and then I can develop a little bit here, but I'm not going to come too far down because I need to have space. I need to have, you know what's going to happen next. But we could also maybe have, let's just have a think about this. Just to play around, just to give you ideas. I mean, they could be crappy ideas for all I know. That you could have this also in front of the wall. I wanted to call it a fence again, and a bit of bush leaves sort of thing. No, maybe just one, or maybe one even up there. Like reorganize the composition of the embroidery that was together. Or you could have one over here, like that. That's covering too much. You might stick one over there in front of that one. You know, you just play around with it. Anyway, I'm quite happy with it as it is. So I'm going to just work on that. And then when I come back from Australia, I might work on, oh, well, I would do it on camera. We'll work on it some more, but at least I'll have time to think about it. So that is how it's evolving. I'm quite happy with that. And it just shows different ways to bring in different materials, textiles, to create a bit of texture in what you're doing. Like, there's all these different fun things that we can use to create the feeling of the garden. And I haven't finished up there yet either. So that is my video for this week, and I will see you when I come back from Australia. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.